All right. Ready to dive into one of the biggest mysteries of like the whole digital age,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
who is Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin.
Very mysterious.
We've got excerpts from the Bitcoin white paper
What?
and Nakamoto's Wikipedia page.
Oh,
And we're going way beyond the basics today. We're on a mission to uncover, what we know,
right.
but more importantly, what we don't know about this shadowy figure.
Yeah, the mystery just keeps getting deeper.
Totally.
It's wild that we're talking about something that's like reshaking finance and tech,
Right. Yeah.
but its origins are like completely anonymous.
Yeah.
It's unheard of in today's world,
Yeah.
right? With all the digital footprints and online chatter.
Totally. It's like trying to solve a puzzle with like half the pieces
A
missing.
very, very tricky puzzle.
Yeah. Okay, let's start with what we do have.
Okay,
Bitcoin.
right.
Can you give us a quick refresher on what makes it so revolutionary?
Yeah,
Especially, for anyone listening who might like be new to crypto.
sure.
What is it?
So Bitcoin at its core is a digital currency, and it operates completely independently of like any central bank or government.
Wow.
So it's decentralized,
Okay.
meaning it relies on a vast network of computers
Oh, okay.
to verify and record all those transactions rather than a single authority.
So not like a bank.
No, not like a bank, not like a government.
Okay, that makes sense. And the blockchain.
Yes,
That's the tech behind all of it?
the tech behind it all.
Nah.
That's what makes it work.
Makes it work.
Yeah,
Think of it as a public ledger, a record of every Bitcoin transaction ever made.
yeah, and it's super secure
Why?
because that ledger is distributed across, tons of computers
Wow.
worldwide. So to tamper with it, you'd have to hack into the majority of those computers
All at the same time.
all at the same time.
That seems impossible.
Practically impossible, yeah,
Okay, so that's Bitcoin in a nutshell.
in a nutshell.
But what I find really intriguing is that the Bitcoin white paper, published in 2008, laid all of this out so clearly. It wasn't just technical. It almost read like a manifesto
Oh, totally.
for a new financial system.
It absolutely did. And if you think about 2008,
Yeah.
the middle of the global financial crisis,
Right.
I mean, the timing's significant.
Yeah.
Remember that quote embedded in the very first Bitcoin block?
Oh, yeah.
The Times, 03 Jan 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks.
Chills.
It's like, Nakamoto was making a direct statement
Oh, yeah.
about the failures of traditional finance,
Right.
offering up Bitcoin as a solution.
Like, were they a disgruntled economist?
Right.
Or like a tech genius with like a social conscience?
Who knows, really?
What kind of person or people would even have the knowledge to do something like this?
That's where it gets really, really interesting
Yeah.
because Nakamoto was actively involved until 2010
Mm-hmm.
and then, poof, vanished.
Just like that. Gone.
Gone, handed over control, and went silent.
And they walked away from a fortune.
Yeah.
Estimates suggest Nakamoto holds like somewhere between 750,000 and 1.1 million Bitcoins.
That's insane.
At Bitcoin's highest price, that could have been worth over $73 billion.
Oh, wow.
They could be one of the richest people on the planet.
It's mind-boggling.
But we have no idea who they are.
It defies logic.
Right.
Like this immense wealth just sitting there,
Yeah.
untouched.
Belonging to a phantom.
It almost feels like a deliberate choice,
Yeah.
to create something so transformative and just walk away.
Okay, let's put on our detective hats
Okay.
and try to unravel this. What clues did Nakamoto actually leave behind?
Besides the code.
Yeah, besides the code.
Well, they were very guarded about their personal life.
Right.
But there were a few breadcrumbs.
Okay.
On their PDP Foundation profile, they claimed to be a 37-year-old male living in Japan.
But there's been a lot of debate around whether their writing suggests they were actually a native English speaker.
Yeah, there's been a lot of analysis, a lot of focus on their writing style.
Right.
Some experts pointed out that Nakamoto used, some British English terms,
Oh, okay.
like bloody hard, flat, and maths, along with that spelling, gray,
Interesting.
which might suggest, maybe they were from a Commonwealth country,
So not Japan.
potentially. Yeah.
And then there's the whole thing about the posting times.
Right.
Someone analyzed the timestamps of their online posts, and it was super late at night in Japan when they were posting.
Yeah, like a very unusual sleep pattern for someone, supposedly in Japan.
Right.
Some people think maybe they were in a different time zone altogether.
So many conflicting clues.
It's really a puzzle.
It really is. If we're looking for one person, this starts to paint like a confusing picture.
Exactly. It's like putting together a puzzle
Right.
where some pieces just don't fit.
Yeah.
And that's before we even get into the prime suspect.
Oh, this is where it gets really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Over the years, a number of people have been put forward as potential Nakamotos.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to dive into the most prominent candidates.
Absolutely. We'll look at the evidence,
Okay.
the arguments for and against,
Mm-hmm.
see if we can separate fact from fiction.
Let's start with Hal Finney,
Okay.
a true cryptography pioneer.
Yeah.
And one of the very first people to adopt Bitcoin.
Absolutely. He actually received the first Bitcoin transaction.
From Nakamoto themselves.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So tell me about him.
So Finney was really, deeply involved in the cypherpunk movement,
Okay.
a group that advocated for privacy and, cryptography as tools for social change.
I see.
Brilliant programmer, strong believer in decentralized systems.
So on the surface, he seems like a perfect fit.
Yeah, on the surface. Definitely.
And to make things even more suspicious, he lived very close to someone named, wait for it,
Okay.
Dorian Satoshi Nakamoto.
Oh, wow. What a coincidence.
The coincidences are pretty hard to ignore.
Yeah, hard to ignore. And early linguistic analysis of Nakamoto's writing kind of pointed to Finney, too.
Really?
Yeah, but he always denied being Satoshi.
Okay. Okay.
And later analysis of his writing cast doubt on those initial findings.
So we can't just rely on circumstantial evidence.
No.
And like surface level connections.
No, we got to go deeper.
Right.
Deeper into ideas.
Yeah.
Motivations, the potential reasons.
Right.
Why someone might go to such lengths to stay anonymous.
That's what we'll explore next.
Exactly.
Dude.
So we've explored some potential who's behind Satoshi Nakamoto.
Right.
But what about the why?
Yeah, the why.
Why would someone go through all this trouble
Yeah.
to disappear?
Right. Like after creating something as big as Bitcoin.
It's the question that keeps me up at night.
Me too. I mean, we're not just talking about a brilliant invention. It's like potentially billions of dollars just sitting there.
Right. It's like they're like daring us to figure it out.
Yeah.
There are a few theories, about Nakamoto's motives for staying hidden.
Uh-huh.
Some people think maybe it was just about avoiding legal trouble.
Oh, yeah. Especially back then, Bitcoin was like this radical idea.
Totally.
And governments like didn't know what to make of it.
Right.
So maybe they were worried about being like shut down or even prosecuted.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
Right.
Bitcoin, it challenges traditional financial systems.
It does, yeah.
It operates like totally outside the control of governments and central banks.
Yeah.
Which, could easily be seen as a threat.
Especially back then.
Yeah, yeah.
So anonymity could been a way to like fly under the radar.
Yeah, exactly. Lay low.
Lay low. And let's not forget like the personal risks.
Oh, yeah.
If you're like known to potentially hold billions in Bitcoin, you're a target. For hackers, kidnappers.
Right, right.
I mean, maybe it's just about safety.
It could be. The less people know about you,
Right.
the less vulnerable you are.
Makes sense.
But I think there could also be, like, deeper reasons.
Oh, I like that.
More philosophical reasons behind the choice.
Tell me more.
Think about it.
Okay.
Bitcoin is built on this idea of decentralization.
Right.
Taking power away from, like, any single entity.
Right.
By remaining anonymous.
Yeah.
Nakamoto ensures that Bitcoin would be judged on its own.
Oh, okay.
Not on the personality or intentions of its creator.
So it's like a leaderless revolution?
It is.
Wow, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, guided by code and consensus.
So they basically stepped back.
Yeah.
And let Bitcoin become its own thing. Free from the baggage of a figurehead.
It's one interpretation, yeah.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
And it raises some interesting questions about what this anonymity means for Bitcoin's future.
Right, because on the one hand, you have this thriving community, developers all over the world working on it,
right,
upgrading it, debating its direction. But on the other hand, there's no one to settle disputes.
Yeah, there's no one to make the final call.
Right, like when there's disagreement.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
The lack of a central authority can lead to some messy debates.
Right.
Even splits.
Right.
But it also forces everyone to work together.
Yeah.
It's democracy, but for code.
But surely there have been times when having a Satoshi to step in would have been helpful.
Oh, there have been plenty of disagreements.
Right.
Like the block size debate a few years ago almost tore the community apart.
Oh, wow.
But even without a Satoshi, they found a way forward.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty,
Right.
but it proved that Bitcoin could adapt, evolve, without a central leader.
But what about, like, the bigger picture, beyond the technical stuff?
Yeah.
Does Nakamoto's absence affect how people view Bitcoin?
It's a good question.
Like, does it make people more suspicious?
Yeah, I mean, for some people, yeah.
Right.
The mystery makes it seem unreliable, shady. Even
Yeah.
they want to name a face, someone to hold accountable.
Right. It's like they don't trust something if they don't know where it came from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for others, the anonymity is part of the appeal.
Oh, okay.
It reinforces this idea that Bitcoin is different, outside of the control of the powers that be.
It's like a digital treasure hunt.
It is, kind of.
We know the treasure's real.
Yeah.
But no one knows who buried it.
Right.
So, bringing it back to our list of suspects, do any of their potential motives align with this choice to disappear?
Right.
Like the idea of a leaderless revolution.
Right. So let's think about Halfoni again. With his involvement in the cypherpunk movement, would that suggest he'd want to stay anonymous?
Maybe.
The cypherpunks were all about using cryptography to protect individual liberties and push back against, centralized control.
Yeah.
Anonymity was a huge part of that philosophy.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yeah, it fits.
Okay.
But remember those later analyses that cast doubt on him being Satoshi.
Right. And his denials.
And his denials, yeah.
So we hit another dead end.
Another dead end.
It seems like every time we get close, something doesn't fit.
Yeah.
What about Dorian Nakamoto?
Okay.
Was there any indication that he would want to stay anonymous beyond the obvious, media frenzy that would happen?
Well, the thing about Dorian is he was, thrust into the spotlight.
Right.
Totally unwillingly.
Yeah.
From what we know.
Yeah.
He was a private person.
Okay.
Not looking for fame or fortune.
Right.
So if he was Satoshi, it makes sense why he'd deny it.
Right.
And try to disappear.
Yeah.
But remember, there's that cryptic message from the Satoshi account on the P2P Foundation.
Right.
That said, I am not Dorian Nakamoto.
Right.
So if it wasn't Dorian posting, who was it?
That just deepens the mystery.
It really does.
Okay, so Nick Szabo.
Yeah.
He was a big advocate for decentralized currency long before Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And he even created something called BitGold.
Right.
Which had a lot of similarities to Bitcoin.
So could he have wanted to stay anonymous to protect his ideas?
Yeah, potentially.
Szabo was deep in the cryptography and cypherpunk communities.
All right.
He knew the power of decentralized systems.
Okay.
Maybe he wanted to release Bitcoin without his name on it.
Yeah.
So it could grow organically.
Right.
Free from any preconceived notions about the creator.
That would fit with the leaderless revolution idea.
It would. But again, Szabo denies it.
Right.
And he's never refuted that stylometric analysis.
Right. That linked his writing style to the white paper.
Exactly.
It's like he's playing a game with us.
Maybe he is.
Dropping these clues but never revealing his hand.
Or maybe we're just reading too much into it.
Maybe.
But that's what makes this mystery so fun.
It really is.
It's a puzzle with so many possibilities.
Right.
And no easy answers.
Speaking of puzzles.
Yeah.
We still haven't talked about Craig Wright.
Oh, right.
The self-proclaimed Satoshi, who's gone to such crazy lengths to prove his claim.
Yes.
Does his story tell us anything about why Nakamoto might want to hide?
Well, Wright's case is interesting.
Yeah.
Because it seems to go against the whole idea that Nakamoto would want to stay anonymous.
Yeah.
He's actively looking for recognition.
Right.
Even taking legal action to prove it.
But the courts ruled against him.
They did.
They said he wasn't Nakamoto.
And they said he was forging documents.
It's kind of ironic. It is.
That by trying so hard, he might have hurt his reputation more than helped his case.
It's like he wanted the fame and fortune.
Yeah.
But didn't want to play by the rules.
Right.
Maybe. Or maybe he genuinely believed he was Satoshi.
Yeah.
Even if his evidence was flawed.
It's hard to say.
It is, but it shows how hard it is.
Yeah.
To prove or disprove someone's claim.
So where does that leave us?
Right.
If Craig Wright couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Is it even possible?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
Or the billion-dollar question.
Maybe even more.
Yeah, and it's one we'll keep exploring.
Okay.
As we delve into Satoshi Nakamoto's legacy.
Stay with us.
Yeah.
As we've been talking about all this, one thing that keeps coming back to me is just, like, the audacity of it all.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, think about it. We have this technology, Bitcoin,
Right.
that's had a huge impact on the world.
It really has.
It sparked a whole new industry, challenged traditional financial systems.
Mm-hmm. Caused tons of debate about the future of money.
It's definitely disrupted things.
Right. But the person or people who created it have, like, totally disappeared.
Vanished.
Yeah, it's like they dropped this bombshell and then just vanished.
It's a fascinating paradox.
It is.
This incredible technology that everyone can see and analyze and use.
Right.
But the origin story is, like, completely hidden.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder, does Nakamoto's anonymity actually add to Bitcoin's power?
That's a really interesting question.
Right.
I mean, on one hand, it can make it harder for people to trust Bitcoin.
Right.
They want to know who's behind it, what their motivations are, whether they can be held accountable.
Yeah, like if something goes wrong, who do you complain to?
Exactly.
Right.
But on the other hand, I think it really reinforces one of Bitcoin's core principles, decentralization.
Right.
There's no CEO, no board of directors, no single point of failure.
It's just the code, the network, and the community.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like they're saying, this isn't about me. It's about the technology, the ideas, the potential.
That's a great way to put it.
And that message, like, really resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Especially, people who are kind of disillusioned with traditional institutions and like centralized power structures.
Exactly.
It's like they've created this system that can't be controlled by any one person.
Yeah.
Not even its creator.
And that's a powerful concept.
It is.
Especially these days.
But it makes you wonder, did they know? Did Nakamoto anticipate just how big this would become?
It's impossible to know for sure.
Right.
But I think it's safe to say that they understood the potential of decentralized systems to really disrupt the status quo.
And maybe that was enough for them.
Yeah.
Maybe the goal wasn't to get rich or famous, but to, like, plant a seed to start a revolution.
A digital wildfire.
Exactly.
That couldn't be contained.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's important to say that, like, this mystery might never be solved.
You might be right.
But maybe that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the mystery itself is part of what makes it so interesting.
Right.
It keeps us guessing, keeps us digging, keeps us engaged.
And who knows, maybe someday there'll be a new piece of evidence that will finally reveal the truth. But until then, the search continues.
It does.
We've covered a lot today. The technical parts of Bitcoin to, like, the bigger philosophical ideas behind anonymity.
We've looked at the clues, debated the suspects,
grappled with the mystery
of Satoshi Nakamoto.
It's been a true deep dive.
It has.
And we hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And if you're curious to learn more, we've got some sources for you
in the show notes, so check those out.
Keep those thinking caps on.
Yeah, keep asking questions.
And keep exploring
the fascinating world of Bitcoin and all the mysteries around it.
Until next time, happy digging.